What is it like to try to find a job in the year 2023? I would compare it to setting sail during the 18th century, having your faithful boat as you go across the high ocean waves when any direction you could pick and you could travel. And just like during that time, any direction you could choose was probably a bad one. Hi, I'm Luke Sutton, and I'm a writer, and you know what that means. I don't have a job, but that hasn't stopped me from trying. And in today's world, it should be so much easier to try to find a job. There's so many different websites and companies that are built to try and help people find jobs. LinkedIn to Indeed to even places like Twitter, where people can reach out and connect with other people with similar interests or similar jobs that you're looking forward to. But why is it so hard? It feels like even with technology growing, it's just that much harder to try and find a job, especially in today's market. The point of this video is to talk about my experience trying to find jobs, specifically on LinkedIn, and maybe give you some helpful tips and tricks in trying to find your own job. And if you're in the same boat as me, really just trying to find job applications and you just kind of need a little levity, hopefully this video might provide that for you. So let's dive into what I like to call the real doom scrolling. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a website where you can find jobs. And not just any jobs, you can find good ones and bad ones and ones that aren't real and ones that are. And how can you tell the difference between the two? You can't. You can't. Let's start with the basics. We're going to be creating a brand new account for today's video. For the sake of the video, we're not going to be using my personal account. So we're going to start with something completely fresh, no strings attached. And for that, I want to introduce you all to my OC. Meet Bodie Wilson. He's 35 years old, Libra,
and has an unquenchable thirst for human blood.
When setting up your account, I always recommend starting with a Gmail account. Even if you don't have a Gmail account, make a Gmail account. Because for some reason, companies see anything else, like an AOL or Yahoo, and see that as the mark of the beast, and you will not get hired. And now you're in. So now you start filling out your information. I put my location as hell, and for some reason, LinkedIn thought that was Greece. So apologies if you're from there. Next, you'll put in your most recent job title, even if it's a barista. Bodie Wilson was a CEO most recently of Google, just maybe not the Google you're thinking of. Then select the industry that your job was in. Say that yes, you are willing to work. And now we get into a really important part of selecting job titles you are looking for.
For some reason, the rest of the video is filmed at a weird Dutch kind of angle. Haters will say that it was because the camera tripod was a little bit slanted and I didn't check or didn't confirm it. The real ones will know that it was an artistic expression.
When it comes to selecting the job titles that you're looking for, just think of kind of common themes. Like if you're looking to be a writer, you can just put in writer, but I also recommend putting in nice adjectives before it. Things like content writer, sports writer, or if you're looking for editing, video editing, audio editing, things like that. That can really help narrow down your focus. Even when you're just starting out, it might seem strange to try to narrow down your focus when you're looking for any job possibility, but this really does help because it at least takes the job descriptions from being 1,000 job applications to at least a good solid maybe 300, and that's a lot more feasible than 1,000. Trust me. Once you have your job title selected and the location of where you want to work, you can start setting up notifications for those job alerts. You can also download the LinkedIn app, which I highly recommend. And then you can start connecting with people, but I would wait on that for just one moment. Follow companies, and now it's ready to start editing your profile. Now, the thing about your profile on LinkedIn is it's not a dating app. This isn't Tinder. If this was Tinder, I would have a lot less success. And that's saying something because there's no numbers less than 0. Things can get worse. But honestly, when it comes to your profile, try to keep it as professional and business-y as possible. And just follow your instincts. Don't make this your Twitter account or your Instagram account, trying to be all funny and quirky. Haha, no one cares about you being quirky. Set your profile picture to something nice, preferably a headshot or a business picture, anything that you can find. And then for your banner, just something that speaks to you. Now, one of the most important parts of your LinkedIn account is consistency. So that means setting up your headline with the job applications and job titles that you want. Even if you don't necessarily have those titles, put the titles that you want to have in the future. Set the industry that you are looking for, and then go to your work experience. And now we'll start putting in your actual work experience, regardless of if you have any. It's now time to start working on that. You'll start by filling out your job title that you had while working, employment type, the business or company that you worked for, the location of where you're working at, and also the employment type. And then you'll start working on your time and how long you're working there, month and year. That little job description is really important, and you want to put in key words, adjectives, descriptions, anything that can really help you stand out. Always start with that action verb, that if you were a teacher, let's say, you say, taught students. But you don't want to just say you taught students. You want to say how many students. You want to use nice numbers. You want to use and find key things that when people and job recruiters are looking for, they can find it. Programs. If they're looking for someone who's really good at Adobe Premiere, make sure you have, for a job experience, if you did video editing, make sure you say used Adobe Premiere to edit a video or use it to edit a short movie. That really helps in terms of job descriptions, and also when recruiters are looking on LinkedIn, it'll give you more eyeballs, and it's always good to have more eyeballs. So start filling out that job description with as many keywords or adjectives that you can use. Start those sentences off with a nice, clean, and firm action verb. You want to put in as many numbers or descriptions as you can. Things like if you worked in a team of 14, put that you worked in a team of 14. If you use certain programs like Adobe Premiere, make sure to put that also into your job description. This just helps you stand out from other applicants for recruiters. And just like that, you have a beautiful baby boy. And now it's time for the job hunt, specifically looking on LinkedIn for job applications. This is almost an entire different can of worms, and if I ever want to make another video, maybe I can do one about that and specifically applying. But that's very long and complicated, and that's a subject for a completely different day. But let's say you're just looking on LinkedIn. Look for maybe companies or job titles that seem interesting, that catch your eye. Shoot for the stars, okay? Because you might get something, or at least get an interview or discussion with someone. Once you found a job posting or application that you're interested in, click on it and start reading through the job description. This might take a little bit, but you'll find a few key things that you can really hone in on. How many applicants, how long the post has been up, the connections work in there, and also the requirements. And then you apply. Now, applying is an entirely different can of worms, and just like can of worms, they don't taste very good. So applications are very different, and they're very individualistic to each place. Just fill out all the information as best you can. Try to spruce yourself up, make yourself seem as cool and employable as possible. Even if you aren't, just try. Once you have applied, now it's time to start working on the connection. First, look up recruiter on the people section on the LinkedIn. This is the people who make the hiring decisions. You can also look up who already has the job title that you have. This can help if you want to ask them about how they specifically got their job. And now it's time to start talking about the connection message. This is really important, and I always recommend to use a sort of basic template or outline when you send that 300-character connection request to people. If you can reach out and message them, do that. If you can email them, do that. If you can personalize it, do that. But if you don't know these people and you're kind of cold calling them, just do a simple basic outline. And this is kind of a really simple one that I think can really help. Hi, hope you're doing well today. I recently applied to be a
job title
at
company.
As someone who works there, what have you seen people do in my position to get a job there? If you feel comfortable, what did you do to get a job there? Thanks. Hope you have a great day. And that's all you need. Once you have your message fully written, all you have to do is just hit send and wait for them to reply. And just like that, you're done. Now comes the really difficult part, which is waiting. If people do respond to you, always be courteous, thank them for their time. Even if they don't have any advice and they say we can't do anything for you, just say thank you. You want to leave people better than you found them. And this part is really difficult because there's not really an easy way to go about this. But things will turn out good. Or maybe they won't. I don't know. I've applied to 100 places and I haven't gotten anything yet. So if you're at the end and you watch this and you're wondering, why should I take advice from someone who doesn't have a job and has been looking on LinkedIn? Thank you so much for watching.